in downtown Chewelah since 1945.
And by
SETI's Ace Hardware.
SETI's Ace Hardware is now open for business in the Garden Center space at 309 East Main Avenue in Chewelah. Carrying hardware essentials, name brand tools, a range of pet and livestock products, paint, and more. SETI's Ace Hardware would like to thank the community and local businesses for their continued support. SETI's Ace Hardware, open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sundays from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m.
Ace, the helpful place.
Listen in as the Chewelah Arts Guild and KCHW 102.7 bring you Artists on the Air, here to present their local flair.
Thank you so much. You're listening to KCHW. This is Artists on the Air. This is our new program with the Chewelah Arts Guild. Introducing your host, Diane Evans. Good morning, Diane. Good evening, afternoon. What is it today? Afternoon.
It's Tuesday.
It is late afternoon, early evening, mid something. Anyway, welcome, Diane.
Thank you.
Go ahead, take it away.
Yes, I'd like to welcome everybody. Preparations for the Taste of Chewelah and specifically for the Taste of Chewelah Art Auction have begun. That event will be happening all over town Thursday, September 12th. The art auction happens at Quartzsite Brewery. I'm so happy this afternoon to have Chris Lehwalder with us. The idea for this show, Artists on the Air, evolved over years of getting to know local artists and occasionally, sometimes frequently, asking artists for donations and feeling gratitude for their generosity. A twinge of feeling more than gratitude turned into questioning. How do we, the Chewelah Arts Guild, give back to these artists? How do we honor and promote them? And voila, here we are with Artists on the Air. It is our intention to promote and honor a sampling of artists who have supported our efforts along the way. So let's dive in. Again, welcome, Chris. We're going to start off with I'm going to ask you to tell us who you are.
My name is Chris Lehwalder. I came over here 20 years ago, exasperated by all the chaos over on the west side. And I have been an artist as my main vocation since 1975. That's kind of two broad ways to begin. Shall I elaborate on how I started my art, or?
You can elaborate on anything you want to, and I'm going to ask you questions along the way.
Good. I grew up in a large family in the University District, one of those big 3-story houses. My mother was in Seattle Symphony for 35 years, and my father was a federal probation officer. And we grew up with the usual impulses to do the university route and do something serious with our lives. And after getting out of the Army, I tried and tried and tried. I went to the University of Washington. I got a degree. I went to Western Graduate School. I went back to the University of Washington, did my pre-med. By that time, I was 27 years old, and the only schools I could have gotten into would be schools of osteopathy, which were like medical schools, but they took people a little older. But I just realized, I finally had an epiphany that I was trying to be someone that I wasn't, and let the other people in our family be important. So I got married in Bellingham, and my wife got her first job teaching in Bellingham School District, and I had no job. So I started drawing houses up on the hills in Bellingham. There's some wonderful craftsmen, some very elaborate 3- and 4-story structures there, and had a lot of fun drawing them, and people bought them. And then a company had moved into the year before that was reinvigorating the old art of scrimshaw. And I better explain what it is. A scrimshaw is basically an engraving on polished ivory. It's a wonderful medium because you don't know what you've got until you rub color into it. It's a full engraving. It's a true tattoo. In fact, I use a tattoo machine. Anyway, the drawings that I was doing were so close to, in that kind of tight rapidograph style, was so close to what they wanted in Scrimshaw, they hired me. And it was a wonderful experience. There were about 20 artists. We all sat in a big room. Someone was in charge of the music. We had free lunch program, even cheap car repair down below. It was a very, very ambitious, sort of utopian bunch of people from California that started this. And for a while, Scrimshaw really flew. We did very well. Myself and 5 others went out on our own and quickly connected with the galleries in Hawaii, and we sold a lot of Scrimshaw in Hawaii, California, a lot in San Francisco, Las Vegas, and also Hawaii, Alaska. We did very well all along the western coast. And it's very lucrative. And our stuff, we were so spoiled. They were marking our stuff 3.5%, 3.5 times what we were getting. So a piece I got $3,500 for it was 12 to 15 grand, and it's still sold. It kind of reached its high point in 1982. We had a show, believe it or not, at the Aaron Faber Gallery in Manhattan, right across from Tiffany's on 57th. Our work was beautifully displayed on the main floor. All of our work sold. I went to represent about 10 of us. My work was a heron standing on a rock, as I recall. But after that, as the 80s wound on, people started to become more sensitive about the word ivory, and the galleries got tired of defending what we were doing. We were working on mastodon, mammoth, and fossil walrus. We really were. Initially, I think we occasionally did elephant, but that faded out quickly. But the galleries got tired of defending, and little by little they turned away from Scrimshaw. I was still selling in San Francisco at Scrimshaw Gallery around after the year 2000, but by then it would pretty well petered out. But what happened was that these galleries where we showed our work, am I talking too much?
No.
Oh, no.
Okay. I'm getting to want to get bored with my own voice.
No.
We're incredibly high-end galleries. They're the kind where you walked out and the ocean would be there, and there would be all these pools where you didn't really know where the horizon was, and the woodwork inside the galleries was just mind-blowing, and that's part of the reason they were able to sell. When you're selling stuff in posh circumstances, you can ask for a lot of money, and they did. But gradually, the main galleries turned more and more trinkety, cheaper stuff. But by then, what's a strange thing happened. Early people that saw our work they couldn't afford now had money. The big wealthy people that always wanted to be able to afford Scrimshaw, and I was lucky enough to have some collectors keep me busy, and I still have one that saw my work back in the 70s when he was a poor guy, and now he's a multimillionaire, and he's buying my work. So it works out well. But let's see. Anyway, I was doing Scrimshaw. I have to admit, it's really commercial. It's pretty commercial art. Each work that I do, I try to make look like a little tiny oil painting, but I'm stuck within a certain narrow range of subject matter that I know people will want. Anyway, in the 1990s, I started painting on the street, first in Seattle and then in Portland, and I had a couple of influential artists that were successful that got me a good gallery, and I did really well with galleries. In Seattle, Portland, Astoria had a big one-man show there, in a Scott Mila gallery in Anacortes, and where else? Issaquah, oddly enough. I had a really good show in 2001 at the Fountainhead Gallery. I was going to Hawaii and painting the sugar mills. I would rent a car and line the trunk with garbage bags, big glass plastic bags, and buy apartment grade, thinner, and be in business 2 hours after I landed. I was standing in diesel oil. Who goes to Hawaii and stands in diesel oil painting old structures? I don't know, but they did really well. And then I had a horrible show in 2003. I had over 40 paintings. I did every mistake in the book. It was my fault, and I sold only 2 paintings for around $1,500. It hurt the gallery. It hurt me. I didn't even make my framing costs. And I quit galleries and skedaddled over here. With one exception. I kept a gallery, Bainbridge Arts and Crafts on Winslow, affluent little gallery, and I was with them until 3 years ago. In fact, a painting I did in Spokane of that inflated dog with that car lot that's on Division was chosen by them to represent a gallery show, myself and 3 other artists in Winslow. But COVID hit, and they canceled it. And since everything was scheduled 2 years in advance, I just gave up. Also, it was very cumbersome shipping the paintings back and forth and very expensive. So I've been out of the gallery scene for almost 20 years. And Scrimshaw's kept me afloat, and I still paint. I've got a nice little show coming up here with the Yale. Jessica has generously given me November, December, and I'll have probably 15 small oil paintings of. They're all going to be local. Stevens County, chewy little scenes, affordable. And I'm starting to consider looking for a gallery in Spokane. I've got a friend looking for me, and it's time to get back in the gallery business, I guess. There.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all very interesting, Chris. I didn't know we were going to talk about Scrimshaw, so that's a surprise. And
You know what it is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we lived in Alaska for a while.
Okay.
So I'm curious. So where did you get the tusks?
Mostly comes from an island. There's one in Russia and there's one in Alaska. And they're fossil walrus if they're tusks. They're legitimately 1,000 years old. And the mastodon, there are pictures in Seattle around 1900 of mastodon tusks in warehouses as far as you can see. They're very conspicuous. They're huge. They have a different twist than elephant tusks do. And in fact, I've got my own tusk. So it's not as rare as you might think. But it's an art form. It's legitimate art form. We did beautiful work. We did a channel bracelet for John Denver. It's on one of his albums.
Oh, wow.
We did some for Sylvester Stallone. And for a while there, it was really, we were riding high. But
Yeah, I grew up in Alaska. Scrimshaw was
Really?
Yeah, pretty much everywhere. Yeah, I went to school in between Palmer and Wasilla.
yeah,
Yeah, at
where you can see
Colony, Middle,
Russia.
and High. You're right from our house.
Yeah.
There, in her defense, there's one place in Alaska, definitely not from her house. I'd actually know where her house was. We used to go dinner at the restaurant next door.
Huh.
But there is one particular place in Alaska where you can see Russia from the coastline. But it's a very specific location, and it is very, very far from Wasilla.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. So, Chris, maybe I'm going to show my ignorance here. Have you shown your Scrimshaw in Chewelah?
No. The reason is it's real labor intensive, and they're always commissions.
I see.
That's one of the beauty of it is that I'm paid for everything I do. Poor artists, all of us accumulate our dog paintings, and they sit there and accumulate and accumulate. What to do? I have learned advice about galleries, though.
Okay.
This is something that I thought would be helpful, and it's a mistake I made. I sometimes go into a gallery and I see work by somebody, and then I see work that I don't regard as successful now that I know what they're trying to do. I won't be specific about what gallery. I just see it happening. And they're trying to sell art they know isn't successful for half price or whatever. They shouldn't do that. It's hard on. It's not good for the gallery. It's not good for the artist. And like a friend of mine, a prominent Seattle artist, once said, you shouldn't have any bad children out there. If you're not proud of what you did, don't even try. Don't show it. That's one thing.
Let's talk about what you are proud of. What?
Well, I'm happy with some watercolors I'm doing right now.
Okay.
I go to Oregon and take pictures, and then in fact, I'm doing one right now, the road that curves with trees. That's the only way I can put it. But also, I did really well in the street. I enjoy plein air painting a lot. I enjoy cityscapes and structures, and they're fun to do, and there's so much in front of you. I sold paintings in Seattle of single wide trailers and stuff like that in North Spokane, but when it's too close to reality of where you live, it doesn't have the cachet it's going to have in a wealthy city where it's considered, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned something. Did you say a dog painting in Spokane at a car? Did you say?
Oh, it's that inflatable dog in a car lot right there on Garland and Division.
Okay. And
Yeah.
it's inside the building, or it's
Well, the dog is it's like 50 feet high.
oh, it's the dog itself. Oh, okay.
No, I did the dog and the building below it and all the cars with the numbers on their windshield for sale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I still have it.
Oh, nice.
So, anyway.
Yeah. So we have some of your pieces.
That's
Chris.
right.
Yeah. So I think the first piece we bought was a piece about that hotel.
The Otis.
The Otis. It's now the Indigo, but the Otis.
Yeah.
And they were tearing it down, and they had the fencing around it.
Right.
And oh
Urban
my God,
squalor.
you captured that. I mean, we used to drive by there often,
Thank you.
and you captured that scene.
Thank you, Diane.
Yeah, it almost moves. There are two people walking down the street 'cause they can't walk on the sidewalk. 'Cause
By the way, they're not prostitutes. They're just walking to the car.
oh, oh,
Not that
Okay.
it matters.
oh. I never did think they were prostitutes. But
Well, they had the high
that's
boots.
interesting. Now, when I look at that, I'm going to think, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I don't know. I don't know if the term is correct, but some of the art that I've seen you do, I would call representational, and I don't know if that's the right term.
I think it's the perfect term.
But you paint a car, and you use like almost the whole canvas or the whole frame
Yeah.
for the car, and it's a close up. I mean, it's just really, really nice.
Thank you. I'm trying for hyperrealism.
Okay.
And I'll tell you a funny story. I did well. I sold about 12 of those for around $2,000 to $3,000 each. There's one on Wright Valley Road that apparently the guy was getting some static from the county because I was out there photographing and he thought it was, trouble. So the cars started disappearing. And I thought, that's strange. When you've looked at something for a month, you remember it. You remember the rust spots. I found them again in Sprague, the same damn cars.
Oh.
I was down there and looking for old cars, interesting cars, 50s and 60s. And the guy said, well, there's some right up the street there, the main drag. And they're the same cars that I'd just been painting in Chewelah. And by coincidence, the owner came by. He was a mail truck driver, and he gave up. He came up and he opened the door for us and says, lock it when you're done. I give up.
Nice.
Enjoy yourself.
Okay.
And so I had a nice photo session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another representational piece that I've seen owned by somebody here in Chewelah is that you painted the front of the car, but the main focus is the wheel. The wheel.
Did Tom Bristol's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Can't wait,
Oh,
came
I
out.
like that one too.
Thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did that freehand actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
was
that's
fun.
really that's
Doing a
really
circle
nice.
freehand, it's always a challenge.
Yeah.
Was
Thank
that
you.
Was that Tom's car or Tom's painting?
No, it was a car I owned that
Okay,
I
okay.
loved. 51 Cadillac Fleetwood. Yeah, black. Very
Yeah.
black.
Yeah, it's a really nice painting.
Thank you.
So, do you have a studio, Chris?
Yeah, I do. I have a little 200 square foot studio with a nice north light. Just working in it this morning. And it's a nice little sanctuary. I can look out of my pond and all the animals and all that. It's a nice setting.
And it's separate from your house?
It's within the footprint, but it seems like it's separate. Yeah.
And how often do you paint?
It's funny, I enjoy it so much, and yet I avoid it sometimes. I don't know why. Scrimshaw takes a lot of focus. I'm completing a scrimshaw and a watercolor right now, and I swore I'd get the damn scrimshaw shipped before I had fun with the watercolor, which is really more enjoyable. So,
What's the scene on the scrimshaw?
it's a battle scene of two 18th century ships. Guy's giving me 4,000 for it, and it's about 3 inches square.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Does he tell you what he wants the subject to be?
This person, no, wants a collection for his children and a free run to do anything I want.
Oh, yeah.
He's managed to source some huge pieces of mastodon ivory. I don't know how he did it, because mastodon, it's 10,000 years old, and it cracks radially so that all the pieces are very curved. And these are absolutely flat, like you cut them off a block of cheese. They're wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah. That's my next scene. Is going to be an even bigger one. It's going to be 6 inches by 5 inches, and that's the Sahara Desert when you're looking through optovisors, you know.
Wow.
It's a big, big space to fill.
So you can interpret this any way you want to, but what do you feel has been your most successful piece of art?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, you know, there's an old saying, you learn from your mistakes, so get out there and start making them. I have a lot of failures. I really do. And sometimes I think one succeeded and it seemed like no one else appreciated, but I couldn't limit it. I've been painting too long, you know. I did a Cadillac that a friend of mine bought a print of, a light green Cadillac I'm very fond of, came out very well. And that'd be a hard one to answer. I have something I'd like to say about the Chwila art scene that I really like.
Tell us.
If that isn't too far off the subject.
No.
One thing I really like about this community when I came here, were all the people taking part at the Civic Center, bringing art from wherever in the county they were. And I really like the sincerity of people just doing something in isolation, what they wanted to do. Grandma Moses stuff, naive American art. There's some really cool stuff out there that people do. And the idea of someone that just wants to do it, and they're maybe alone in their trailer or wherever else, and the pride they put in it, it's kind of fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go back to with Diane's question of your biggest success. I guess that would be, would you determine that by financial success or personal satisfaction, I guess?
Well, yeah, financially. Scrimshaw is on the edge of commercial art, and so I'm thinking of money, but I also want to do a really, really good job, so the guy reorders, I want to knock his sock off. I hope to.
Nice.
And I've gotten $10,000 for a piece, but I wouldn't call that my most successful. I don't know. I just have pieces that, what's really cool, art, what happens with all of us artists is our ego gets engaged. And when it gets engaged, we want that good feeling, that feel-good feeling of people liking your work and all that. And you get easily defensive when you don't hit something out of the ballpark every time. It's human nature. But I forgot the point I was trying to make.
That's okay. I was enjoying it. I was enjoying hearing it.
How? That what's really cool is when you forgot you did a painting and you see it and you like it and you realize you did it. That's really nice because your ego's not engaged. Hey, I like that. Hey, I did that, And I look through I've got archives going way, way back, and sometimes it's surprised pleasantly.
Nice.
It's nice, yeah.
Kind of, almost like cleaning a room up and it doesn't look that nice until you leave the room and come back again.
That's right.
Yeah.
Rediscover it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you title your work, Chris?
Yeah, I do. I have to, I guess, to keep track of it.
And how do you choose a title?
Good question. I don't know. What did I title yours? The Otis Hotel? I guess I did.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the back.
I title it obvious enough that you can find it. I mean, if it's sold and the title is too remote from what it is, it can be hard to track down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the Otis Hotel was an original.
That's right.
Yeah. So did you make prints of that?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I sold one. Can I use other people's names on the air? Or is that not smart?
You can
Or
use first names. Go
Kevin
with
heard
first
about
names.
one. Kevin bought one, and I sold a couple.
Oh, yeah. I
Nice.
wonder where Kevin has his hung. I haven't seen it. He's probably hiding it.
I had a girlfriend that wanted to buy the unit he bought, by the way.
Oh,
And we went down to see Tom Bristol, and Kevin, it was the one upstairs above Tom.
yeah.
Anyway. Or maybe it was yours.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Coincidence.
Yeah. Well, okay. How has your work evolved over time?
I like to think I'm a better artist. I'm trying to get looser. I started out in about the most uptight form of art you can do, which are these fussy little lines, and it has to be perfect in a certain way. And I'm striving for looseness, but having it work, that's not always easy. So watercolor seems to be a happy medium in that respect, because there's some wonderful brushes you can make with just cutting with scissors and all that, and like you want to simulate tree leaves, and it can be a lot of fun, and you get this, it would take you hours and hours to replicate what you just did, in 30 seconds with a funky brush and experimenting around. So watercolor shows a lot of promise, I think. Actually, I had a show in 1982 at the Stillwater Gallery. I sold 25 paintings, did really well, and promptly forgot and went back to Scrimshaw. And I did do another watercolor for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. So, I just want to talk about your painting for a minute. So, is watercolor your most favorite medium?
It is right now. Yeah. It's hard to do plein air. I mean, it's very unforgiving of mistakes. I do find it necessary. I tried yesterday a stream of consciousness painting where I'll just go wherever, and it never works. I have to have an image to look at.
Oh. Okay.
Even if I'm going to change it, I still have to have an image.
Did you participate in the plein air show that Tim sponsored?
I was going through a crisis of how I wanted to paint and if I wanted to paint.
Okay.
So I didn't do that. Yeah.
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 Well, I think in his estimation, and it seems like when I've been in the gallery, it was a successful show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
Yeah, and it was
I should have gone in there.
prolific. I mean,
Yeah.
there were, I don't know how many artists exactly there were, but it was
Dozens.
Prolific
Yeah.
show. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
really that was really nice.
I think there were over 50 pieces that were submitted. I don't remember the exact numbers. Tim would have to say, but yeah, they filled up his gallery, and we put a bunch in the Aaron Huff Center. Yeah, it was amazing to see the amount of people participating, and
Yeah.
I'm still blown away, by the quality of work that was done in such a short amount of time, and the submissions and the variety of submissions.
The variety.
Was just
Yes.
incredible.
But
So-
they weren't all watercolors, were they? I mean, they were all mediums.
I don't know that.
I
I
don't
mean, I
think-
saw the show, but
Yeah, I think there was all sorts. I think there might have even been a couple of encaustics.
Okay.
I'm not sure for that one. There might have been.
well, now that I think about it, I know they were not all watercolor because Nandus did a ceramic piece.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
So,
Huh.
Yeah. So, Chris, did you mention or allude to previously in this conversation about who was the most influential person in your art?
I would have to say Edward Hopper. Do you know his work, of
No, I
course?
do not.
he did that painting of the Nighthawks, that famous kind of iconic painting of the people in the restaurant late at night with the glass you can see through, and sometimes Marilyn Monroe's in it. And, that was Edward Hopper. I just love his compositions. I just they're exquisite. I'm obsessed with compositions. In the last 10 years, I just obsessed with it. To me, it's important, and love his work.
My wife did a version of that for a challenge with a stormtrooper mixed in from Star Wars. Mixed
Oh, you
in
know
with
the
crowd.
painting?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Nighthawks of the Diner. Also a very famous Tom Waits song about the same
Okay.
diner. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a famous painting.
Yeah.
Where's the diner?
I'm not sure where the diner actually
Good
was.
question.
Do you know?
Good question. Yeah, I don't know.
That is a good question.
By the way, are you an Edward Hopper fan?
I know that painting. Other than that,
All the women are his wife, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
The
I
one
didn't.
the usher, she's standing there in the theater. They're always his wife.
That's nice.
The same with Maxfield Parrish. All his women are always his daughters. He couldn't draw people, so he would photograph his daughter. This is back in the 20s. You know Maxfield Parrish?
No.
Anyway, he did the one with the columns and the kind of Grecian scene with the grapes coming over and the view. Very popular printmaker. They're all his daughter. And he couldn't draw people, so he would cut out the outline of the picture itself and then trace it onto the. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, his wife, Josephine Hopper was the name of his wife. That was in all the
Yeah,
paintings.
that's right.
Yeah. So let me see here. I got the location here. The this is all where the painting is actually stored. The actual painting itself is in the Art Institute of Chicago.
Oh, really?
So the
Okay.
setting of it is an unnamed diner in Greenwich Village in New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Huh.
It's not an actual place, but it's an amalgamation of all of those diners in that area at the time.
Are you familiar with Parrish? The one with the columns and the girls lounging and the distant mountain scenes there.
No, a specific painting or a style of painting.
Well, I'm thinking of one called Daybreak.
Okay.
It's the DeYoung Museum in San Francisco. Anyway, it's one of the most popular prints of all time, and it's only like 24 inches across.
Is it also another Edward Hopper? I'm not familiar with it.
No.
Pardon?
Is it also an Edward Hopper painting? No.
Oh, that's Maxfield Parrish. Yeah.
Oh,
They
okay,
were
I'm sorry.
contemporaries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one time in your career, Chris, you made a big left curve, in my opinion. Maybe not in yours, but in my opinion. You were painting, I'm going to say representational paintings. And then you started painting cats and animals.
Right.
Yeah. So are you still painting?
Well, I've gotten a fair number of animal portraits. In fact, I just did 3 paintings for Sarah Biden, believe it or not. I'm not kidding.
Oh.
Jim Biden, someone here in town is a first cousin of her. They go way back. They're very close. She married Jim Biden. And this person went to Washington, D.C. and got to go to the Oval Office in a whole bit. And as a thank you, she commissioned me to do those 2 dogs. And I did, and Sarah Biden liked them a lot. And then there was that episode with the president's dog that bit the security guard.
Yes.
That was a gift from Jim Biden. So Joe Biden gave the dog back to Jim Biden, and they wanted me to do that one too.
Okay.
So I just completed that and shipped it to him. I kept them all the same size, 11 by 14. So she sent me a picture of all 3 of them. Anyway, there's glory for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
good.
What was the dog? Wasn't the dog Commodore?
It was Commander.
Commander. That's right.
It was
that's
Commander, Major, and Gina.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But I always wondered what happened to the dog. So it got given back to.
He gave him back to Jim Biden. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. And the dog's happy and healthy and
Sure.
living a good life. Good.
Yeah.
So currently, Chris, where are you exhibiting your paintings?
Nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty happy with. You have to have a body of work, and I'm starting from scratch again. To me, at this point in life, it's important that it means something to me more than the commercial thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm confident, this is a general thing, when you do something you like, someone else will like it too. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm confident I'll have a place to sell them. And I had some good luck last year. I did pretty well at the little show at the Yale.
Mm-hmm.
Did a painting of the witch Bud Evans based on his photograph.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent photograph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have that
Oh, I
painting.
gave him a print, yeah.
Yeah, we have that painting in our kitchen. It's it's I love looking at that painting. It's
Thanks.
Big memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too bad it had to happen, though.
Yeah. Well, Chris, you gave us a lot of really cool, great information. I mean, way beyond my my list of
Oh, thank you.
questions. Yes, you just did a great job.
I slapped myself up the side of the head and said to myself, don't pontificate.
Oh.
You know? Hope that wasn't too much of that.
No, not at all.
You know, from my point of view, it's actually really nice. Especially, I had some technical stuff that I had a little glitch here going on while he was talking, and it's always nice to get a guest on that gives you some time to sort of click around on the computer and figure out what's going on when you're having some issues with something.
Oh, I've got plenty of hot air.
You know, the worst thing is when you have an interview and you ask a question and they go, "Yep."
Yeah. Yeah.
So from my point of view, you've been an excellent interview.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I agree.
I agree too.
So, if you don't have any more parting words, I'm going to close up this interview.
I think I'll quit while I'm ahead.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I want to thank everyone for listening, and I want to thank Chris for sharing his story. It was an interesting story. So listen in next week, same day, same time, for Artists on the Air, where we are honoring and promoting our local artists.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
And you all out there are listening to KCHW 102.7. Thank you all for tuning in for week 2 of Artists on the Air. You can tune in tonight right here on KCHW. We're going to have from 6 to 9 Dr. Jazz live in the studio. Then from, where are we here? Okay, then from 9 p.m. to midnight is going to be the Soul Show with Mike Kenton. And don't forget, we are going to be live at the, not live, but in person at the Friday Market. We're going to be joined by the Tuila Valley Lions Club. We are going to be selling 50-50 raffle tickets. The Lions Club is going to be selling ducks for the Duck Regatta, benefiting the Anna Schindler Foundation. Be sure to swing by the Friday Market and take a look at that. And just a heads up, this weekend, Saturday, is the Summerfest. We're going to have live music all day. There's going to be vendors. The Fireburgers are going to be out there. Then followed up next day by the Huckfest up at the 49-degree ski hill. So once again, thank you so much all for listening. Thank you for tuning in today. And you're listening to KCHW 102.7, your Northern Lights Public Radio.